Evening everyone and welcome to Cherries Red Army YouTube channel. I'm Kirk. I hope you've had a really good start to a more normal week, and we're here with another match preview as AFC Bournemouth prepare to take on Huddersfield away from home. It's a midweek game and it's a game in hand, the one that was arranged because of the FA Cup clash against Southampton. Thank you for joining us live. You know you can take part throughout. Let us know what your thoughts are in the interactive chat. We'll share as many comments as we can throughout the show. I have two exciting guests with me. Please like the video throughout the show and subscribe if you haven't already. I think we're about 13 behind our next milestone, so please get behind us and let's grow the channel. Okay, let's get our first guest on. It is an AFC Bournemouth fan. You may have seen him on other AFC Bournemouth fan channels as well. Please welcome John Amos. How you doing, John?
Yeah, very well. Thank you, Kirk. Thank you very much for having me on. Great honour.
Great start to the weekend and obviously great start to the week as well.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, great. 4 wins on the trot, which is what, the first time since we were in the Championship pre-Premier League, isn't it? I think, since we won the title. So that's great and good to score 4 again, like we did last time we played Huddersfield. So who knows if that's an omen or not. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting game on the 5:30 tomorrow.
And we'll get stuck into the match preview in more detail in just a moment. But let's get our second guest on for the opposition, a actor and huge Huddersfield fan. Please. Okay, Joel, we'll see if Danny can sort his screen out in a minute. But let's start the match preview and see how we get on here. I mean, we had a good win, like you said, at the weekend. It was a comfortable 4-1 win against Coventry in the end. Yeah, talk us through that. I mean, Danjuma adds to his stats again. I think that's 6 goals now in 6 games. Brooks turned up. He hasn't assisted or got a goal since December. But yeah, good result.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost as if we're the opposite to Huddersfield at the moment. Huddersfield have got loads of injuries, but it's great to see Brooks getting back to it. I mean, before he's this run in the team, he really hadn't been playing that well, had he? I mean, I think he played well against Huddersfield when we played him before. But, you know, when Brooks, and this is what we were saying at the start of the season, when Brooks and Danjuma are playing at their best, then you know, we should be scoring lots of goals, and we probably haven't been doing that enough this season. We all know our frustrations, you know, that led to Jason's departure and a couple of dodgy results under Jonathan. But yeah, it's great to see we're getting back to our best, and also the fact that they equalised within a couple of minutes of our very early goal didn't seem to set us back too much. We seem to have that collective confidence, settled lineup. It's all very good, but the thing that worries me about the Huddersfield game is that all good winning streaks come to an end at some point, don't they? And Huddersfield are very hard to beat at their place. I think they've had about 4 draws on the trot, haven't they? So hopefully this will be fifth win on the trot. And if we play like we did against the Sky Blues, then hopefully we'll do okay. And we need Dom to get a brace, don't we?
I was going to say we'll come to that a bit later as well. But it was gifted to Dom in the end. I was hoping Ben Pearson was going to get it because I'm a big fan of Ben Pearson, and every time he comes in, he makes a contribution. But it was gifted to Dom, and he's going to grab it. He's a striker.
The interesting thing about Ben, I know we'll go on to lineups, is what I want to know is he going to get a lockdown haircut and beard trim? So will he be looking completely different? I've got to be honest, I don't know if he looked like that when he was pre-lockdown or not, or if he's just grown it. But that's a big point for me. What will he be looking like on a Tuesday?
It's amazing, isn't it, how a few weeks go on and now suddenly there's a lot of faith in Jonathan Woodgate. I mean, I wasn't behind Jonathan Woodgate from the start, but you can't knock what he's done. Something's definitely clicked. Whether it's training, whether it's a contribution of some coaches that have come in, but you've got to give him credit. I mean, we're performing well. We're being really clinical in front of goal, and it's what we've been asking for quite a while.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I wasn't sure. I mean, when Woodgate was appointed, it wasn't really a surprise. To be honest, I'd rather he got it than Thierry Henry and some of these other unproven names that were being bandied about at the time. I mean, my other team, Spurs, so I've always liked Woodgate. He was a good player for Tottenham. His record at Middlesbrough was okay. At least he has some management experience in the Championship. I mean, I think his win record at Middlesbrough is similar to that of the current Huddersfield boss, actually. But yeah, he seems to have done a lot of what we were all crying out for at the time. Have a settled lineup, get rid of that back three that really wasn't working for us very well. and instilling a bit of confidence. I mean, I think if you have a good defence and a settled defence, then that breeds confidence in the team, and then the results improve, and then the confidence breeds confidence. There's that snowball effect, isn't it? So yeah, I mean, Jonathan's doing a good job. I mean, it would just be interesting to see what happens at the end of the season. Whether we get promoted, they'll probably have to keep him, I would imagine. But if we don't, then who knows what will happen? So I have to see. Maybe we'll get the next Huddersfield manager. Maybe he'll come back and become the favourite. I don't know.
Okay. Let's try and get our opposition guest in again then, and hopefully this works a second time. So he has tried to get inside the StreamYard again. So please welcome Danny Kirrane, and hopefully this will work. How you doing, Danny? Can you hear us?
I'm all right. Yeah, I can. I've just had to move on to my phone. For some reason, my laptop just went really funny then. So
no, that's cool. I appreciate that. And we are live, and that's what happens. And as I said before, when I tried to bring you in the first time, an actor, a massive Huddersfield fan, and I'm sure you've seen these types of things happen before. So tell us a bit about yourself and how you become to be a Huddersfield fan.
Well, my dad took me to my first game when I was around 4, and it was, I think we played at home against Birmingham, and we lost 4-2, but I still loved it. I still loved the old terraces and stuff like that. So that was like probably early 90s, the first time I went, and I was hooked then and became a fan then, yeah.
We just talking about AFC Bournemouth's last fixture then against Coventry, where we won at the weekend, and you got a 0-0 against Rotherham. I heard the press conference from your current manager, and he seemed disappointed that you didn't get the 3 points. I think you're probably going to be okay, but was looking for maybe a little bit more at the weekend.
Yeah, I think we're in a bit of a tough spell. We've had a lot of injuries recently, and I think some of the way we played the first half of the season, we're not able to play that way anymore because a lot of the players, like Josh Kirrane, who's a revelation up until December, he's been injured. Harry Toffolo's been injured. We've had injuries all the way through the team. And so I think we've been trying to be more selective about games and be slightly more defensive. So it's been the last, well, since Christmas, really, we've really struggled to pick up victories. But the last sort of 6-7 games, we've drawn quite a few because we've been a bit more defensive. I think Carlos Corberán has tried to solidify us a little bit because we do leak a lot of goals.
Yeah.
So let's look.
You've got seem to have the problem, Danny. Sorry, I was just going to say, looking at your lineups from the last few games, you've been flitting between a back 3 and a back 4, which is what we were doing for quite some spell, and we didn't get many wins when we were doing it. So.
No, and I also think that we're in a transition. I mean, we'll probably move on to this, but having come down from the Premier League and had last season where we only just stayed up, we've had a massive turnover of players. And not only that, there's probably another 11 out of contract at the end of the season. So there's just like a massive rebuilding job going on at the same time as doing a season in a pandemic where there's no fans. So I think, although it's tough for Carlos, we can sort of see why he's struggled a bit since Christmas.
This is going to be a really interesting match preview. I've been looking forward to this for a few reasons. And if you stick with us throughout the show, I think you'll see why. But let's go back to December, that fixture at the Vitality Stadium. Now, John, we would have fans in the stadium for the first time, and I was fortunate enough to be there. It was a bit of a weird one because I was excited, but I was gutted for the fans that couldn't be there. But in the end, AFC Bournemouth dominated the game quite early on. A couple of goals for Dom, Brooks, Surridge and Stan. 5-0, a comfortable victory.
Yeah, I started buying a ticket for the game because I think that was the one where they started selling them to people with a lot of points that weren't season ticket holders. And then realised it was my son's birthday and we were going out. So I had to abandon my purchase, which was a bit annoying. But yeah, that was almost kind of the peak of us under Jason Tindall, wasn't it? Apart from, obviously, we beat Norwich 1-0 earlier in the season. But yeah, it was a great win. And I remember at that stage, we were all really excited that things were going great under Jason. And then I think the next game was a really drab Wickham 1-0 win, wasn't it? And so we kind of peaked at that stage, and it's taken us a long time to kind of get that form back. I think we've kind of got there now with Jason, the form we had beating Watford and then beating Swansea and things like that. But yeah, that was a great result over Huddersfield. But as we know, I think there was one season where 1 year we beat them 5-0, didn't we? And then they went and beat us 4-0 not long afterwards. So you just never know with the Huddersfield games. I mean, I've been to Huddersfield a couple of times in the 2005, 2006, and there was always a few goals. I think they're both games, I think, with 2-2 draws in the end. But yeah, to be honest, I was only there for the gammon and chips at the pub in Flockton, which we discovered. We weren't bothered about the game, especially the second time. We just went for the gammon and chips. Unbelievable.
I mean, Danny, that wouldn't have been a great result when the full-time whistle went. But looking back, that was off the back of 2 wins and 2 clean sheets for you. But I've looked at some, post-match analysis after that, and they said that it was quite a weak side that Carlos went with.
Yeah, I think we had so many games obviously over Christmas, and we'd already had loads of injuries. So he tried to change it up and put some of the young lads in, and it really backfired because obviously that game, every time you had a shot, it seemed to go in the net. And I think sometimes, it's not a criticism of Carlos because it's good that he's trying to play young players, but sometimes he plays them in the really big, tough games away from home. So like the Norwich 7-0 the other day, he started some of the youngsters, and it's very difficult then for them to come back in the side because it can really hurt a young player playing and letting 5 goals in. But yeah, anything can happen when we play because we're that sort of team.
And the head-to-heads between the team, the last 6 games does favour AFC Bournemouth. There's 1 draw, 4 wins for Bournemouth, 14 goals. And I think we won the last fixture at Huddersfield at the John Smith Stadium. So we're confident with the form we're in as well. John, do you fancy us to do well tomorrow?
I think it could be. I think it'll be close. It will certainly be a lot closer than it was. I mean, Huddersfield have obviously sorted their form out because if you look at the teams they've had the draws with, Brentford, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was one of those, and Cardiff as well. So you've managed to get some good points there against some of the the top 8 teams in the league. I mean, I think we'll do okay. To be honest, unless Tommy Elphick gets back in the team and is back to his championship winning form that he had with us. And if Alex Pritchard rediscovers his form that made him worth 15 million or whatever you paid, I think we'll probably sneak it. But it is a bit of a banana skin, and I won't be surprised if it's a draw because Huddersfield are the experts at home draws, aren't they? So
yeah,
I think we've got enough to win. Danjuma's full of confidence. Brooks is getting back to his best. Billing obviously will want to do well against Huddersfield, so I won't be surprised if he doesn't score with his backside or something, probably like he did before. But I hope we'll win 2-0, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if Huddersfield get a draw, which would be disappointing, obviously, for us.
In those head-to-heads then, Danny, there is a win for you in the last 6, and that was the 4-1 against us in the Premier League on a ridiculous time kickoff. But we don't always win at Huddersfield, and we've obviously struggled in a playoff many years ago as well. So do you cling on to those sort of performances that you can win the game or get a result?
I think we'll be okay tomorrow. I mean, I think we might get a draw. I think it depends. There are quite a few coming back from injury this week, so it depends whether he risks any of them. I think we're a much better side. If Josh Kirrane plays and if Carol Eiting is involved, the lad we've got on loan from Ajax, these are the players that were injured around Christmas time that we've really missed. And Harry Toffolo, obviously, who's a brilliant left back. And if any of those play, we might have a bit more of a chance. But I think we'll probably try and be defensive and get a point, which is not the way Carrane wants to play. But he's trying to be a bit more pragmatic, obviously, because we're a bit closer to the bottom than we'd like to be.
Let's get stuck into the form of both teams then. And you're currently sitting 19th, Danny, 44 points. I think you've got 11 wins, 11 draws, 8 losses, or 18 losses, shall I say?
Yeah.
18 losses. I mean, last season you finished 18th on 51 points. So what is the expectation at the start of the season to where you are now?
At the start of this season, though, I think our expectation levels were probably to be where we are if we were honest. And then as the first half of the season played out, we were doing quite well. I think the squad's weaker than last season because we lost Carlin Grant, we sold him to West Brom. We lost Steve Mounier. Lots of players have moved on, and also lots of players are coming to the ends of the contracts, which is always difficult because some want to leave and some want to stay. So it feels quite tumultuous at the moment, and I think we'll know a bit more about the way Carlos wants to play next season when he has his own men in. But it was really good to watch the first half of the season, and then literally after we played you guys, it's gone downhill since then. So maybe this might be another reversal in form.
And in your last 10 fixtures in the Championship, 2 wins, 3 losses, 5 draws, 8 goals, 16 conceded, 4 winless in 4. I mean, 16 conceded, that will include the Norwich result.
Yeah.
But it does favour Bournemouth when you look at those stats.
Definitely. I think it's going to be really tough for us tomorrow. But I do think if some of those players can get a start tomorrow, if Carrane plays an hour or Kirrane gets to do an hour or come off the bench, then I think we'll be a little bit better. But we're struggling. We don't have many wingers fit or fullbacks at the moment. So everything's quite in the middle. So that's really tough to create much, because that's where a lot of our creative stuff came in the first half of the season, was down the left-hand side. But Toffolo's injured, Karame's injured, and they were brilliant together. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
AFC Bournemouth then, John. 4 wins in a row, 12 goals, 2 conceded, haven't lost on the road since the 12th of February, scored in the first half in the last 7 games. I mean, we should be confident, but it is the Championship.
Yeah, and it's Huddersfield, isn't it? Like I said, you never know what the score's going to be, really, when we play Huddersfield. Could be 4-0 to them, could be 5-0 to us. I mean, I think I can't see Huddersfield winning, to be honest. As I've said, I think our form is good. I mean, we've been relatively lucky of late with injuries. We've got a settled team. I think Ben Pearson will probably play, and then if you look at our bench, we might be able to bring on Jack Wilshere if we do need a goal. We've got a strong squad. I'd say it's quite a lot stronger than Huddersfield's, as Danny said. You know, they've got. I was looking at their players. They've got a lot of players, as he said, coming to the end of their contracts. A lot of players that aren't playing much, like our ex-captain, and I think Pritchard's one of his last games was against Bournemouth, wasn't it? I think he played in that drubbing,
Yes.
and he's hardly featured since. So I think we should be too strong. Our form's been good. We've got a settled team. We've got a strong bench. We've got people like Sam Surridge. He scored, didn't he, in the 5-0. He's not played much. He's desperate to get off the bench and score for us. So I think we'll be too strong. And I think our form, for once, I mean, when I used to follow Bournemouth back in the noughties, we used to bottle it and start losing our last 8 games and fall out of the playoffs and come 7th. So it's great that we actually seem to be going the other way, the right way, and putting a winning streak together with a few games to go. This wouldn't have happened under Sean O'Driscoll, I'm telling you. So, hopefully our wins will continue, and it'll be 5. I think we probably should.
And another Bournemouth stat to be aware of is double over Blackburn, a double over Coventry, and an opportunity to do a double over Huddersfield. In those 11 wins then, Danny, you have beaten Swansea, you have beaten the likes of QPR, who have beaten Bournemouth, and you have beaten Watford. So you have beaten some big teams this year. Yeah,
like I say, and I think we play better sometimes against those big teams, especially at home, because the way he wants to play that high press, and he likes to play like Leeds, but obviously we don't really have the players to do that yet. So that's why we've leaked a lot of goals. But especially the first half of the season, those victories against Swansea and Watford and teams like that was really good attacking football. But that's obviously gone by the wayside because we don't have many players to play at the moment. So at the moment we've got like quite a few central midfielders playing and people playing on the wrong wing. So yeah, it's tough. We've sort of got to grind out results really.
Is Mbenza fit? He's got a lot of assists for you, hasn't he?
He's got a lot of assists. He's really good at taking free kicks. I think he is fit, but I think he's another one who might be going at the end of the season. So I'm not sure. Carlo, I think they might be waiting to see. I don't think they want to get him injured in case they're selling him or wanting to move him on, you know. So I'm not sure if he'll play. He hasn't played last couple of games.
Could be doing a Ryan Fraser.
Yeah.
Looking at your stats,
so we can get his move.
Looking at your stats as well then for your team, Danny, you've got Fraser Campbell on 7 goals, but I don't think he's contributed towards that since the 3rd of Feb. Kirrane, like you've talked about, has got 6, and Mbenza as well. But a lot of those players, as we've just said, haven't really added to their assists or goals since February.
No, a lot of them have been out injured or missed quite a few games. We're getting a lot of sort of muscle injuries, hamstrings, which normally is something to do with training or the way they're playing. So that'll have to be sorted in between this season and next season. But yeah, we've gone a little bit more defensive and a little bit less gung ho. in the last few games in order to get those draws against Brentford. And then we sort of went to Norwich and just capitulated. So anything could happen tomorrow. But if I was to go for a result, I'm going to be positive and go for a 2-2 draw.
Brilliant. We'll get that score prediction added to the others that we'll get later on. And John, Fraser Campbell, you said off air you have a little story about Fraser Campbell.
Oh yeah, I used to work with his mum. We had some marketing people based in an office in Huddersfield, and Fraser's mum Bernie was part of our UK marketing team when I was at LV, and she managed to get a word with Fraser because my other team I mentioned being Spurs. He was on loan at Spurs briefly, and he did manage to get me a signed cup final programme signed by all the Tottenham players. I was hoping he might get Man U players to sign it as well. Would have added to the value on eBay. But no, he got it signed by all the Tottenham squad for me as well. So I'm sure Fraser's probably watching this video. So thanks very much for that, Fraser. And he's an interesting player. I thought he played quite well when he was at Tottenham, but he's never been that prolific with his goals, has he? That's the thing.
No, he works so hard for the team. I've never seen a player run like that. But then he gets lots of injuries because of it, and also he's not near the goals enough. He likes to get involved and put himself about, but that means he's never in between in the penalty box.
He used to come on and play on the wing for Tottenham. He seemed to come on as a sub, and I always thought he looked quite good as a winger rather than a striker. To be honest.
Yeah, he's a great lad though, and he's Huddersfield born and bred. So, I think he'll probably will be there next season. I think he'll get an extension because I think Carlos really likes his work rate. He presses and he never stops running. He'll run through a brick wall.
Right. Thank you to everyone who's currently joining us right now for this live match preview. And it's going to get really exciting now. I'm really interested about this and been waiting to ask Danny this all day. Now, AFC Bournemouth fans, check this out in just a moment. And Danny, tell us your thoughts on it. Now, you're a second-year parachute payment team from the Premier League. I'm going to show you a graphic now. The first graphic, well, it's going to be on one screen, but it's going to show you an image of one team that we played against. You played us in the 9th of March, 19, is the lineup on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side was your last fixture against Rotherham. Now, interestingly, you have one player that played in both of those fixtures. That frightens me because potentially, if Bournemouth don't get promotion, this could be a similar story.
Yeah, there's only Bakuna there, isn't there? And most of the other players that got us up that time and kept us in the Premier League have all gone now, or are injured. Like Schindler, for example, has been injured for much of the season. I mean that's the thing. Obviously, the parachute payment thing. You do go through a lot of players in the 3 seasons that you receive them. I mean, and that's part of the reason that you get them. But it just seems never ending. And obviously then if you also change manager, they have different ideas about which players they want. So it can be like 12 players every season leaving and then bringing in another 12 players. So I think it's quite difficult to get a settled squad. I think that's why it'd be great if you were going to go up this season, it'd be a great season to do it because obviously you've got that nucleus of players that you had last season.
John, just your thoughts on that. I mean, bearing in mind, it's a very similar situation to what we could be in.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, we've got some of our stalwarts, or a few remaining ones. Adam Smith, I think he's out of contract, isn't he, at the end of the season as well? And it does go to show, doesn't it, that it's vital to get back up in that first year if you can, or you've got to then get rid of a lot of players. I mean, we've got Begovic, haven't we, who's on thousands a week. I think he's our highest earner. And there was some talk that he was out of contract this year, although somebody's now saying that he might have another year. I think Chris Temple was saying that some of the ones we thought were out of contract may not be. But yeah, it goes to show what can happen within a couple of years. And they always say you've got to get back up in that first year. And it goes to show that it's definitely the case. Or we will lose a lot of players and we will have to bring in cheaper players or blood some of our youngsters, won't we? I wonder if that's part of Bournemouth have put a lot of youngsters on the bench this season. So maybe that's with an eye to getting them in as replacements for those big players like Brooks and people who are bound to leave if we don't go up.
I find that graphic really interesting. If you're not able to watch this live and you're catching up with it on YouTube, let us know your thoughts on that graphic. One team that was in the Premier League 2 years ago to one team that played at the weekend only has one player played in both matches. Very interesting. One player that played in that game as well, I've got someone here asking about the chat, was Philip Billing. I mean, your thoughts on Philip Billing, Danny?
I think he's a really talented footballer. Obviously, it was a bit acrimonious, I think, the way in which he left. But I think that's part and parcel of football now. I think he was always great to watch when he went for it. Sometimes, and I think Wagner really got in his ear a lot about, work rate and stuff, that German sort of thing of you've got to press and you've got to do stuff. But he's obviously got bags of talent. And obviously he's such a different sort of player. He's so tall to play in midfield. He's such a different sort of player to see someone that tall running through the middle of the park. So I've always enjoyed watching him, and I'll enjoy seeing what he's like tomorrow.
It's interesting you say that, because Billing's criticism has always come when he plays in a 2, and where he's been such an influence recently and his form's been unbelievable is when he's played in a 3, but more proactive as like a number 10, and he's had that freedom and he's not had a lot of responsibility. I mean, would you agree with that, John?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was that game where we beat Huddersfield 2-1 a couple of years ago at Dean Court, but Huddersfield were all over us, and they really deserved to have won that game. I mean, it was one of those games where Bournemouth were awful. Huddersfield were brilliant, and I thought, how are they doing so badly? And Billing was great in that game. And I remember turning to my mate who'll go to games with Tim and saying, if we could sign him, if Huddersfield go down, that would be brilliant. But then I don't think really Eddie got the best out of Philip last year at all. And I think Woodgate has found that number kind of 10 role that is a revelation in, to be honest, and he's keeping Jack Wilshere out of that position. I think most of us thought when we re-signed Jack, he'd be the one playing behind the front forward. So, yeah, he's finally showing his potential. But, yeah, I agree. He reminds me of Dembele when he was at Tottenham. Like, he's so tall and his big strides, when he gets going forward, he can cause real problems just because of his height, really.
Yeah. And he's got great vision and a pass and stuff. And I think you're right, though. When he was in a 2 for us, he always seemed defensively never wanted to do that extra yard of running. And in a Wagner team, you just can't get away with that. So that's why early on when Wagner was there, he didn't get as many minutes as he would have liked. But, it was always a joy to watch. From a young age, watching him come through, it was great.
I'll get your final thoughts then, Danny, on the game tomorrow, how you think it'll play out, and you can confirm that score prediction. One more, just mention for a club, AFC Bournemouth legend, Tommy Elphick. Yeah,
Tommy Elphick. So he's been so unlucky with injuries with us, but apparently he's like everyone loves him in the dressing room. And someone was saying the other day on one of our preview shows that he'll probably end up going into management. So I reckon he'll be down there before you know it, managing you lot at some point. He's a legend.
Yeah, such a good guy, John. Tommy Elphick. Yeah,
great captain for us, wasn't he? And it's a shame that, like so many players, he kind of peaked with us, and then he went off. We signed him to Villa, didn't we? And he didn't seem to play much there. Went to Reading, and he's obviously been moving around quite a bit at the moment. But Danny, one player I was going to mention to you, one of my favourite players for Bournemouth over the last 20 years or so was a guy who played quite a bit for Huddersfield, but you're a young guy, you might not remember him. Do you remember Marcus Browning when he played for Huddersfield?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do remember Marcus Browning. We signed him from Bristol Rovers when we signed
that's right.
Marcus Stewart. Yeah, I do remember him, yeah. Great player in the central midfield.
He was a great player for us, yeah. And we got him from Gillingham, who Gillingham couldn't afford his wages. We got him on the cheap, I think, because ITV Digital had collapsed and people didn't get the money they wanted. But yeah, Marcus was a great midfielder for us. So yeah, I think Billing's the second best ex-Huddersfield midfielder we've had. Marcus is still the best we've had from Huddersfield.
I always remember Marcus Browning having a really, really, really tanned body. He was like super tanned, like he was on a sunbed every day. That's all I can remember about him. He looked like, what, have you been on a sunbed again? Like every time he came on. Yeah.
My great stat about Marcus was that he played in goal for us a couple of times. And in one of the games, he saved a penalty. Wow. And at that time, our number one goalkeeper was a guy called Gareth Stewart. And he'd never saved a penalty in a professional game. And so Marcus Browning saved a penalty long before our actual goalkeeper ever managed it. So, yeah.
Great stuff.
Brilliant.
Great legend.
Right, Danny, 5:30 kickoff tomorrow. Bit of a weird time. Hopefully everyone can get in time to watch it. But how do you think it's going to play out? Confirm that score prediction.
I'm going to go 2-2, and I think we might score early because sometimes we come out of the blocks early. But I think Bournemouth will then have a lot of the ball, and we'll have to try and be a bit more defensive than we normally are. And I think we might nick a goal back, but we'll see. But I think the 5:30 kickoff might suit us with us being at home. I think they are always odd games, the 5:30 kickoffs. I think they're always odd games for both teams. But I think us being at home, and I think after that 0-0 at the weekend where we didn't really turn up for a big game, I think we might be up for it. But let's see. I might be completely wrong.
Appreciate you coming on this match preview, Danny. I hope you enjoy the game and good luck for the rest of the season. I think you'll be fine. I think you'll stay up. But look after yourself and all the best for the future.
Thanks, guys. Nice
Cheers,
one,
Danny.
Nice one, Kirk. See ya.
Cheers. Okay, John, we're going to get into the predicted 11 in just a bit then. Jonathan Woodgate had his press conference today. He said players are fit. Junior Stanislas is back. Maybe fitness a little bit short, so probably Brooks will play, but we'll get to that in a minute. But he said the team's in confidence. There was a lot of smiles at the weekend and only Lewis Cook out.
Yeah, that's good, isn't it? I mean, it does seem like things are coming together at the right time, as I said, and just hoping that for the few remaining games that we've got, because we've got some big tests coming up after December, we've got the likes of Norwich and Brentford to come. Hopefully we can get Stanislas back to his best, because that'll be brilliant. If we've got Brooks and Stanislas both at their peaking with these crucial games coming up and potentially playoffs and everything, then yeah, that's good news to hear, isn't it?
Okay, so tomorrow at 4:30, Jonathan Woodgate will release the team that he'll pick to play this match, and we're going to try and predict it now. Let's do this. Okay, so I think it's quite obvious that Woodgate has sort of a certain amount of players that he's going to continue to play between now and the end of the season, cup finals every week. And what I've done, John, is I've sort of set the spine up and I've gone with Begovic in goal with Steve Cook and Carter Vickers. I've left the fullbacks for a minute and we'll come back to that. And Lerma, I think, is probably one of his favoured players that will probably play every time he's fit. Now, looking at those fullback positions, Smith and Kelly have been sort of the chosen ones. But is there a case to say that he might potentially play Rico and Stacey with this game coming around quite quickly?
Yeah, I was thinking about this earlier. And I mean, Stacey, to be honest, I think has been one of our best players this year. I think when he has played, he's done pretty well, didn't he? And he scored in the first match of the season. I remember watching that and thinking, this is great. Smith might not feature too much. Yeah, this is it. It's because it's midweek game. I agree that there is a chance that Stacey might feature, because Stacey needs match time. Huddersfield being one of the lesser teams, I think, yeah, maybe let's gamble. Let's say Stacey, rest Smith for Saturday.
And let us know what you think. Let us know what you think in the chat as we go through the team, if you agree, disagree, and your thoughts. So let's agree. I think I agree with that. I think he might play Stacey tomorrow, although Smith's been in form. Would he then change to fullbacks?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's funny. I think Rico was one of our better players last season. But I don't think he's been as good this year, which is strange, isn't it? Dropped down a division, and Rico seems worse. I think Kelly's has been really good. It's building that partnership with Dan Juma down the left. I can't see him playing Rico. Only if we're 4-0 up and he or something. And he just wants to give Rico a bit of action, he might come on. But I think it'll be Kelly.
So I think Lerma will play. Would you agree with that, John?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Lerma's been very consistent, and Woodgate loves him, doesn't he? Says he's 8 out of 10 every week or something.
And then we come to that next position. Now, I predicted Wilshere would start at home, and I predicted that Pearson would start tomorrow. And I think that is going to be the position that he might keep alternating and rotating. I mean, what's your thoughts on Pearson playing tomorrow?
Yeah, I agree. I think, Pearson's a northerner as well, isn't it? So it will be able to understand and translate what the Huddersfield players are saying for Jonathan. So yeah, I think he'll go with Pearson for sure. And as I said earlier, it would be great to see whether he's had a lockdown haircut or not before the game. So.
Absolutely. And with Stanislas coming back into the team, and I'm sure he'll add value between now and the end of the season. He's contributed a lot of goals and assists. But does that top four pick itself? And a few mentioned for some of those players?
Yeah, I think I think Brooks played so well the other day, and I think didn't Jonathan say something about he's only 70% fit or something? Said something like that, didn't he? So I think he'll stick with Brooks. But if Brooks looks tired, you've got Stanislas to come on, haven't you? So I think I don't think he'll chance it. I think he likes playing a settled 11 with only one or two changes. I think only Pearson and Stacey potentially will come in. But if we're winning comfortably, expect Surrey to come off the bench.
What does that do to David Brooks then if he hears the manager saying he's played brilliantly at only 70% fit? Does that put a little bit of pressure on him?
Possibly. I mean, I think from what I can gather, he seems to be a good man manager. We seem to have if his kind of comments were coming out and upsetting the players, I don't think we'd be winning 4 games on the trot. So I think he knows how to motivate David, and I think he's probably said that to frighten Huddersfield, to say, well, if Brooks' fitness is getting better and he's just destroyed Coventry, then maybe we are going to have to double up on him or something. But yeah, I don't think Brooks will mind him saying that.
Happy to agree with that team then for tomorrow, the predicted 11? Yeah,
definitely. Stacey's the gamble, isn't it? We'll see. See if he sticks with Adam, but I wouldn't surprise me to see Stacey there. And I think Begovic will be in goal. I don't see Travers getting in.
This is our predicted 11, and on this match preview versus Huddersfield, there are some disagreements in the chat, and it's going to happen, but there's potential that a few players will rotate out, and I can see Stacey and Pearson playing. Let us know your thoughts on that team and who you would rotate or who you would change if you're not able to watch this live. And this is your opportunity now to let us know your early score prediction for tomorrow's game. Get your score prediction in the chat. That's the opportunity to do it now, and let us know what you think. Will there be more goals? Will Huddersfield make it tough for us? Because that's what Danny was saying. They've gone a little bit more defensive. While you're putting those predictions in the chat, let's have another look then at that league table. There's not many fixtures going on in midweek because this is a catch-up game, John. But looking at that table again, we went back into the playoffs, and with that game in hand, we could go into 5th with a goal difference.
Yeah, it's looking good, isn't it? Although I'm now starting to think, and I'm jinxing it. I know they announced earlier today, didn't they, some information about the playoffs. I'm starting to think, would we rather come 6th and get Brentford, or who do we want to get? Because that influences where we want to finish, doesn't it? And sometimes we'd rather finish 5th if it means we get Swansea than Brentford. So yeah, hopefully we could get 5th.
Just quickly, John. Let's just assume Norwich and Watford are going up. Who's your 4 teams that are going to make the playoffs then? Just quickly.
I think it's those 4.
Okay.
I think the gap is too big for Cardiff. I think Reading have got the toughest run in. Barnsley have got quite an easy run in if you look at it. If they keep their form going, they should pick up quite a lot of points. And Swansea got, I think, 1 or 2 tough ones. But yeah, I honestly think it'll probably finish in that order, unless we can pick Barnsley. So yeah, if we come 5th, then we'll get Swansea, and then I fancy us to make the final.
It is a good conversation because I do think that I prefer to play Brentford over 2 games rather than 1 playoff final at Wembley, because I think they have got talent in their team, and if it does turn up, it doesn't always turn up, but when they've got a 29-goal striker in their team and others that can contribute, it would concern me playing them over 1 match than 2 legs. Is that something you'd agree with?
Yeah, I think so. But it depends, doesn't it? If we come 5th, then we'll probably get Swansea. And then I think Brentford will probably make the final. And then 1 match. Who knows? I mean, they were disappointing in the playoff final last year, weren't they? I thought they'd do better than they did, and then to be honest, there was a bit of an upset for them going up with Scott Parker. So yeah, I don't know. To be honest, they're all tough games.
Yeah,
all tough games.
You just got to turn up. But if we keep playing the way we are, I'm confident we can do well if we get there. Okay, let's get some score predictions in the chat then. Thank you for joining us. We've got a 5-1, more goals, 5 against Huddersfield again. Take that. Aaron, thanks for joining us. 3-1, the famous 3-1. Sammy, 2-0 away win. Rich, 3-1. We've got a 4-0 as well. Lots of goals and a clean sheet. Mark Cole, 2-0. Cameron, 2-0. Liam, thanks for joining us. 3-0, 2-1, 5-2, another 2-1 as well. How you doing, Simon? 3-1, the famous 3-1, 4-1. Lots of goals there then, John. And what's your score prediction for tomorrow?
I think we will win 2-1. I think they will score. I think it will be close because of their form. So, actually, one game we never mentioned about playoffs. We had them in the playoffs, didn't we? Under Bradbury. We didn't talk about that game. I mean, that was the second leg was a very exciting match. I remember watching that. And
I wasn't
Lovell
able to
scored.
make that one, but
No, I wasn't there. I remember
father-in-law.
watching it.
My father-in-law went to that one. He said it was one of the best football matches he'd been to, and we lost on penalties. I was watching at home.
Oh yeah,
wasn't able to go. I remember watching it on the TV and thinking, well, at least I haven't got the journey back. So,
Yeah.
I'm sure if I can remember, we had players like Ings and Lovell and players like that in the team.
Lovell got a great goal. I remember that, jumping out of my seat when he scored. So
great times. So yeah, feeling confident about tomorrow. Then final thoughts on the game and potentially being, I think it's 4 clear or 5 clear of those 7th place. And if we get a result tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, my fear is just that we might, you know, what Bournemouth are like and have been like up until this great run. Will we just think we just have to turn up? That is my worry, which is why I think it will be close. So it wouldn't surprise me if Huddersfield take the lead. But I think we've now got that belief that we're not worried when we've just conceded one, like we showed, got back into it at 1-0 against Coventry. So I think we might underestimate them to start with. I think they might take the lead, but I think we'll come back and win 2-1. And then, 5 wins on the trot, just at the right time, and go up to 5th. Happy days if it all pans out.
And another double over a team in the Championship.
Yeah,
That'll be a trio of doubles. We'll take that. Another great stat before we end the show is Steve Cook's not scored yet. I mean, I brought this up quite a few weeks ago, but he's well overdue a goal, and he scored some crackers in the Championship before. I mean, it'd be nice for him to go to Huddersfield and score a goal just on the eve of playing Norwich, a game that he didn't do too well in last year.
Yeah, let's get him up for the corners and then bang in one of his headers. That would be great, wouldn't it? Good to see. And a Dominic Solanke brace for you as well, Kirk, obviously.
Absolutely, we'll get that as well.
I'll change it to 3-1. Steve Cook and 2 for him.
Fantastic. John, it's been great to have you on. I really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy the game.
Yeah, thank you very much. Great pleasure to be on the second greatest football pod in the world.
Excellent. And get subscribing if you're not a subscriber already, and also give this video a like. We're just about to wrap up the show in a minute or two, so yeah, get the thumbs up going. So what we got going tomorrow then, kickoffs at 5:30, so an early lineups live, and we are going to attempt to do it. Hopefully there'll be no issue, so if you can join us, 4 lineups live at 4:45 p.m. We'll react to those lineups and the team that Jonathan Woodgate's picked. There'll also be a match review out afterwards as well. So once you're done on Back of the Net, head over to Cherries Red Army and pick off the match review. And I'll have Dan Jerome with me for those tomorrow. Thank you for joining us on this match preview. It's been interesting. It's another opportunity, like John says, to get another win. 5 wins in a row. I think the Saints have lost tonight as well. So it's a good night already for a Monday. We've had a good start to the week. Enjoy tomorrow. Enjoy the match. And I'll see you for Lineups Live. From me, John and Danny, thank you for joining us. We'll see you soon on the next video. Up the cherries.